Welcome to Retro Prospect Files, a series where I take prospects from past drafts and give you what I thought about them at the time, whether that be about their strengths, weaknesses, and their potential that I thought they had when they were entering the league. I will be using the format that I use for my current draft prospect videos. There are going to be things I was right about, and there's definitely going to be things that I was wrong about, so I hope you enjoy. Dennis Smith Jr. is one of the best athletes I've ever seen at the point guard spot as a prospect, but he's much more than that in my opinion. I truly believe he's one of the best players in the 2017 NBA draft, and I think he has a chance to be one of the better players in the NBA one day. Today I will be talking about the strengths, the weaknesses, and the potential of Dennis Smith Jr. But before we get into today's video, I've noticed that about 60.5% of you guys that watch my videos happen to not be subscribed. So happen to fall into that 60.5%, or you just happen to be new and like what you see. Feel free to like, subscribe, hit notification bell, be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos to take elements from film essays and apply them to basketball. I also make videos covering the NBA draft and high school basketball as well. So if any of those things are of an interest to you, this is the channel for you. Let's try to get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. Dennis Smith Jr. is a 6'3", 195-pound point guard prospect from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He played his high school basketball at Trinity Christian School. He was ranked 10th by Rivals. He was ranked 7th by 24/7 Sports. He would tear his ACL December before his senior year on the AAU circuit. Now, what's wild is the fact that, for one, he didn't feel any serious pain or swelling after he tore his ACL. His vertical increased 8 inches in 2 months following the tear, and during surgery it was revealed he had an extra ACL, so that's pretty wild. However, despite this, he would still choose to enroll in college early and would commit to play at NC State. As a freshman, Dennis Smith Jr. averaged 18.1 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 6.2 assists per game on a 56.32 shooting percentage. He was all ACC second team and the ACC Freshman of the Year. When it comes to the strengths of Dennis Smith Jr., obviously the biggest one is his athleticism. Not only is he, in my opinion, the best athlete among the guards in this draft, but probably the best prospect in this draft as far as pure athleticism goes. It's something that obviously has been highlighted by his dunks, his 48-inch vertical. I think he has very good body control as well. It's why he's garnered so many comparisons to guys like Russell Westbrook. He's somebody that just jumps out of the gym, and it jumps with ease as well. He doesn't put a lot of effort into his jumps, and he's still getting a 48-inch vertical off that alone. So his athleticism is off the charts. And again, like I mentioned in the intro, probably the best athleticism I've seen from a point guard prospect in recent memory, and one of the better ones as far as athleticism goes ever. He has great scoring potential as well. He averaged 18.1 points per game in college this season, which was the best among ACC freshmen, if I remember correctly. It's something that you just notice. It's not just about his athleticism. Like, you can have all the athleticism in the world, you can be as athletic as Dennis Smith Jr. I know it's very hard, but even if you have all that athleticism, it takes more than just that to average 18 points per game in the ACC. So that goes to show me he has legit scoring potential. I saw it with the shot creating. I saw it, it wasn't just him attacking the rim, obviously. He was taking jumpers, things like that. So I definitely think there's a lot of scoring upside with him there. His shooting improvement. He was somebody that it was probably the biggest question with him going into the season was his shooting, as it is with a lot of athletic point guards that we see in the past, where they have these athleticism skills, they have the ability to finish in the paint and stuff like that, but you notice that they are great shooters. Dennis Smith Jr. shot 36% from 3 on almost 5 attempts per game this year at NC State, which is a very encouraging sign, because that's slightly above what many would consider to be a league average, and he's doing it on a pretty decent volume as well. He didn't start out hot from 3, but he definitely started to pick it up towards the middle and the end of the season, and had some pretty impressive performances from 3 this year. So I definitely think that there is shooting improvement, encouragement signs there. I wouldn't say that, he's a great shooter, but I definitely think that him shooting almost 36% from 3 on 5 attempts is a very encouraging sign. Slicing ability, one of the best slicers in the draft. He has a good handle as well. So that combined with the ability that he has athletically makes him one of the most dangerous slicers in this draft. He can draw fouls at a good rate as well. He averaged 6 free throw attempts per game. He was somebody that had, I believe, a 47.6 free throw attempt rate, which is pretty good as well, which is something you need as a guard now. When you look at guards that are really good now, the James Hardens, the Damian Lillards, like the guys like that, they all are drawing fouls, and it's something that you need as a point guard in the league now. And Dennis Smith Jr. does seem to have that ability. And his passing ability, more potential than I would say ability right now. He did average 6.2 assists per game in college this year. He did average his fair share of turnovers as well. But 6 assists per game, 7 assists per game per 40 minutes. Those are two more encouraging signs. So overall, to me, when it comes to his strengths, he just shows a lot of potential to be everything you look for in a franchise guard in the league. When it comes to the weaknesses of Dennis Smith Jr., the big thing is the shot consistency. His numbers, again, from 3 were somewhat impressive, especially considering what I expected them to be entering that year. But when you watch him play, there are still some shot selection concerns. He can be a bit streaky as a shooter. Again, even if the signs are very encouraging, he is streaky as a shooter, and shot consistency will be something he needs to work on. I'm not too worried about this though, because a lot of young players do struggle with shot selection and shot consistency, and they've overcome it. I think Dennis Smith Jr. very much could just be one of those cases. Like a lot of young point guards, he struggles with decision making as well. It's something that you look at with a lot of young point guards. It's a very hard position to go from like high school to college and college to the NBA. So I definitely think it'll be something early on he will struggle with in the league as well. And again, like with the shot consistency, I definitely think it's something he can overcome. Defensive effort, for someone that's as athletic as he is, didn't really give a lot of effort on defense. Could be because he had to carry some of that load on offense. We'll see that with another 2017 prospect as well. That's something that I think has a chance to improve over time. I'm not as confident in this getting better as I am with the shot consistency and the decision making, but I definitely think his defensive effort can be better. He has the tools to be a very good defender. And his off-ball offense, he's a very ball-dominant player, I would say. I definitely think that he can improve as a catch-and-shoot guy, maybe be a cutter more, just be more active as an off-ball offensive player. Because again, while I think he has a chance to be good enough to where he can be a primary on-ball player, you do need to develop some form of an off-ball game as well, because there's always a chance that you won't reach your ceiling. And even though I think Dennis Smith Jr. has a good chance to, it's always good to have off-ball offense, I should say. I'm messing up my words again, sorry. But, overall with his, weaknesses, I would say they're mostly nitpicks, things that are very improvable, or things that really won't matter in the long run, in my opinion. But you have to mention them because all prospects do have weaknesses. Dennis Smith Jr. is my number 2 ranked prospect in this draft. The only prospect I have ahead of him is Markelle Fultz, and we all know how special I think Markelle Fultz is. My personal draft range for Dennis Smith Jr. is between that 2nd pick and that 4th pick. Likely draft range is between the 4th and 10th pick. I know a lot of people aren't as high on Dennis Smith Jr. as I am, and that's okay because people can have different opinions on different things. His ceiling for me is an MVP level scoring point guard, someone that could put up around 27 plus points per game, 5 plus rebounds per game, 7 plus assists per game, while being decently efficient and one of the best players on one of the best teams in the league one day. I definitely think that's, again, a very high ceiling, but one I think he's very capable of reaching. His floor for me is a starting level point guard. I think that he has a high floor. Somebody that I believe can personally be, a 15, 5, and 5 kind of player at his worst. I definitely think this is a high floor, high ceiling kind of player. His NBA comparison for me would be Damian Lillard. somebody, again, like I mentioned, that could put up really good scoring numbers and pretty decent assist numbers as well. And he has some shades of Russell Westbrook and Steve Francis in his game due to his athleticism, I would say. I would lean more towards Steve Francis with the athleticism just because they have a more similar frames, and I definitely think that his athleticism style is more reminiscent of Steve Francis than Russell Westbrook. But Russell Westbrook was really the only current player that I could think of for the Sage section that I thought had similarities athleticism-wise to Dennis Smith Jr. When it comes to team picks, the Los Angeles Lakers with that second pick, I know it's all but certain that they're probably going to take Lonzo Ball, but I personally think that Dennis Smith Jr. is a better prospect than Lonzo Ball. So I would probably have him going ahead of Lonzo if I was in control, but obviously I'm not. The Phoenix Suns with that fourth pick, they need a point guard. I know they have Devin Booker as a 2 guard, and he does a lot of the scoring as well. But we're in an age where you don't necessarily need to have like a strict passer and a strict scorer as your backcourt. You can have, Devin Booker, who seems to start to have grown as a passer as well, and someone like Dennis Smith Jr. who can be a great scorer and a great facilitator. In the New York Knicks, this is just based off like likely ranks he's actually going to go. But he would be box office in New York, and I definitely think that you get him at 8 in New York. You're looking at that, you look at him, and he becomes the player I think he could be. You're looking back and saying, how did he fall to the 8th pick? But I definitely think that would be a good fit as well. But that's the end of this video. If you've made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all those things. Be a big help to me. I would actually very much appreciate that. Yeah, I was way off on this one. For the ones that I'm doing from 2016 to like now, they're going to be based off what I believe at the time, because that's 2015 was around the time I really started taking this stuff seriously. Anything before 2015, it will be based off my philosophies regarding prospects now and how I would regard them based off like what I believe now. But for obviously a case like Dennis Smith Jr., it will be based off what I thought at the time, and obviously we saw what I thought at the time, and it wasn't even close. So I hope you enjoyed that. Leave some comments below. We'd love to see some feedback. If you have more time, go watch another video. I would really appreciate that. I will be uploading 2 videos on this channel, so I'm wondering if you'll find something else that you like. So again, have more time, go watch another video. Again, appreciate that. I probably said that like 3 times now, but with that being said, have a nice day.